Good morning. That was better. That's why I have my little coffee, because I needed, after partying with Wu-Tang Clan, I kind of needed a little pick-me-up. You know what that's like. So it was nice getting to meet a lot of you there. Just to get it out of the way, I do this for a living, and I've been doing it for, 8 years, leadership development and presenting for about 12, but every single time I feel like I'm going to soil my pants right when I'm in the back of the room. Once I'm in the front, that kind of dissipates and, the flow enters, and so, that always happens. So, look at that QR code. Thank you, Dave, you're awesome. So I'm a little bit of a geek, so if you have a scanner on your phone, you can actually download my presentation. So if it's kind of far and you can't see a lot of times, because it moves a lot, you're welcome to do that. I'll give you about 15, 20 seconds to do so. And then, it's downloaded on your phone. You'll be able to refer back to that, something tangible for you to take with you. So, okay, well, just any kind of smartphone, just open your camera up, aim, click. Oh, I have messages. And it should take you to my website where the PDF of this presentation is. Got it? Okay, so we're going to start now. Oh, I see a few people. I'll just give you a few moments. In the meantime, I can just tell you a little bit, the introduction about myself. I've been working with Jeff since 2012, and this came out of a necessity of me. Whenever I first, I started doing my yoga certification training in 2009, and I finished in 2010, and then I started doing ayahuasca, San Pedro, and all of those things. The very first day was March of 2011. After I came out of my first ceremony, I told my shaman, "So Ron Paul is right?" And he's like, "Yep." I'm like, "Damn, that's so awesome." So that was like the beginning of, I was already a libertarian by then, but I guess I would say that entheogens really helped me become an anarchist, aside from my parents. And I always like to credit my mom wherever she is. She had the mentality, "Oh, I was about to do that until you told me." That it's always funny. I've been doing leadership development for 8 years. I write for the newsletter with Jeff Berwick, and I sell kratom. I import it. I was thinking back, I've been an entrepreneur since I was in second grade, because I used to rent pencils and pens to my peers. And one time, I came home with a big old soft drink, and my brother's like, "You didn't have money this morning. How did you buy that?" I was like, "Well, the little guy didn't pay up, so I had to, collect, if you will." So I've been an entrepreneur since I was that age. Now, we can start now. Oh, what the heck? What do I push? Just with the scrolly thingy? Okay, so that's me. Yeah, yoga, meditation, entheogens. Emancipated Human, YouTube. As far as Emancipated Human, it got hijacked. So the actual page of Emancipated Human doesn't belong to me anymore. After 6.5 years and 72,000 likes, it got stolen from me. And get this, the guys that hacked me sent me a message on Facebook with intimate pictures of my wife and I, and he said, "If you try to recuperate your page, I'm gonna post these." And in my mind, I'm like, there's worse things of her and I online, so I really don't care about that too much, but I wanna try to make it peaceful, right? So, anyway, it's not mine anymore, but the website's still there. Freedom. We're going to be touching on these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. There is something really interesting, and as I was telling you, when I first woke up and I was like, "Yeah, Ron Paul is right," I was so afraid because I saw the level of tyranny that existed in the world. It just opened my eyes to it, and I was like, something needs to be done. The first thing I thought, because that's what I knew, was I'm going to lobby our congressman, and I'm going to gather a bunch of my friends, and we're going to go and we're going to do these things. And I'm afraid, and I don't want to see my kids, like the Soviet Union, dying of hunger and any of those things. So that was the first reaction when you find liberty, most times, is fear and anger. But there is more. But wait, there's more. As we move on, to make real sustainable freedom, and this is basically what I teach in corporations, I help them understand that the command and control situation needs to be ditched, and we move into what we call servant leadership or voluntarism in the corporate world, right? And we have a couple of things that I would like to talk about. So the very first thing is freedom with the self. How do you become sustainably free from the self? And I can tell you a little bit of where it comes from, like the hang-ups, with an example. I bought a Nintendo Switch for the trip so my kids can play as I'm driving from Mexico City to here. And when we were flying from Dallas to Mexico City, my little boy broke the leg that helps the little Nintendo Switch stand. And he didn't tell us. And then he put it away, and as we're, pulling it out to play in the hotel, I'm like, what the hell happened, dude? And he was so afraid that he was going to get in trouble. I'm like, that's the very, very first thing that happens. We receive a lot of guilt and shame when we make mistakes. That in itself makes us want to hide even more. When we hide even more, it makes us shadier. So it's a lose-lose situation. The very first thing that needs to happen here, it breaks us down. We become insecure, we become wounded. So right from the beginning of life, when we make mistakes, our parents portray most times that they're, a form of perfection. And when we mess up, we don't want to disappoint our parents. We don't want to get in trouble. So that's where I've seen that a lot of the issues begin. As a matter of fact, I always like to say that the one sure path to a voluntary society is through peaceful parenting. It's going to be really, really difficult to dismantle the state if we don't do that. So that's what I'm doing here to teach you about this. One of the guys that we've worked with, I've actually met this guy a couple of times. He says, we encourage internal entrepreneurs, recognize them, give them opportunities to implement their ideas, reward them for successes, and never punish them for failures. A lot of you are saying this dude is crazy, right? But he sold Whole Foods for $14 billion with that model, right? So in his book, Conscious Capitalism, he talks in length about, instead of, I'll just tell you a quick story that's on the book. There was a store that lost power because there was some government fuckery that took place, and the food is going bad, and they don't, they're going to waste it. So what the shift manager, it was not even like the main manager, what they call them team leaders. What the team leaders said is like, anybody that comes to the store, you're going to give them food for free. You're not going to charge them until the power comes back. Think about that. An entire Whole Foods store giving their food away for free. And the actual manager, he could have reprimanded him, because that's a lot of money that you're giving away, several thousands of dollars. So what happened is, he said, you did the right thing. We would have wasted, thrown away a lot of stuff, so it's a great thing what you did. And then they came out in the news, and it was so like a great marketing thing. He didn't do it for that purpose. He was doing it because, it's like, I don't want to waste food. So it's how you do things. And he didn't get in trouble, and it helped everybody. So those things are what help us empower a society instead of just shaming and blaming. And I don't want to get ahead of myself too much because there's more cool stuff coming. Now, we are programmed from childhood to really put ourselves down a lot of times. We are really tough on ourselves because, again, we don't want to disappoint. The very first thing that San Pedro told me was to be gentle with yourself. That does not mean to get yourself off the hook at all. You're still going to be responsible. Actually, we teach a concept for our clients that says if you have to hold somebody accountable, you already lost, because accountability starts and ends with you. And that's the entire ecosystem that we want to create in a lot of these corporations. And the idea is, a lot of people hate and shit on the big corporations because they're bad people. Well, I got to go to a CEO conference, Conscious Capitalism. The guy from Whole Foods, the guy from Chipotle, Trader Joe's, all the really fancy, cool guys. And the main theme was, the government sucks. How can we take over? And I was like, holy smokes, this is too amazing. So basically what they're doing is trying to see how they can, create parks, maybe create schools, and basically utilize that profit, because the way they see it is profit is a social good. I can do a lot of great things for it. And the shift that takes place in business is go from business with a mission to a mission with a business. And it's probably a little too early, we're ahead of our times, but as you see the progression in the future, you're gonna notice that that's gonna be a more common theme, because anybody and everybody can give you a product or a service. So what's gonna happen then is you're gonna be able to vote with your Satoshis who you support. You're gonna be able to say, oh, these guys do what I like, so I'm gonna give them my money. That's why I love shopping at Whole Foods, because Mac, he talks about the free cities, like the previous guy that was talking about. They do pay really great wages and other things. And another one of my homies, Howard Behart from Starbucks, the former president, that's his song, you know, like his whole idea is it's not about the coffee, it's how we treat one another. The other one is we don't ask for help because our ego has been wounded a lot. You're supposed to be able to do that by yourself. Why aren't you doing that by yourself? I am guilty of saying that to my kids. I regret it. I try to empower them and say, okay, I'm sorry, let's do it. If you're asking for help, it means that you need help, not that you're lazy. Bones. I was going to say another word. I'm trying not to curse as much. The most influential people on earth have lots of help. Chew on that for a second. Why do we not ask for help? We are interconnected. My wife and I were talking about this morning and how, like, the whole idea that when I see people, I am another you. You are another me. The interconnectedness that the entheogens were able to grant me is by helping you, I'm helping me, because it's all an entire ecosystem. We cannot get away from that. So these guys, I mean, we all love, I don't know if you know the lady, she's the lady that is the CEO of Patagonia, a really amazing outdoorsy brand. And a lot of people dislike Elon Musk. I love his guts. Well, not his guts, but you know what I mean. So we're afraid of making mistakes, we're seeking perfection. That's a sign of critical parents. And the interesting thing about this is the more that you have that, the voice that you hear is your parents' voice telling you how you're not good enough. And through shamanic practices or meditation or just coaching with the normal clients that don't do shamanic stuff, 90% of them, they're like, I feel so bad using my coaching time with you to alleviate childhood trauma and not work issues. And what I tell them is, you have to be a whole person. You cannot fragment yourself like the home person and the work person. You are an entire being. And if you're able to be whole at home, you're going to be able to perform even better at work. So it's an entire system. Nothing is ever separated. We as our parents, we need to be really mindful on how we talk to our kids, because that's the inner voice that they're going to be hearing for the rest of their lives. I'm really grateful that I had really good parents that, for the most part, they were basically telling me that I was God's gift to earth. And so I was like, oh yeah, sweet. So in that sense, I'm able to actually, kind of like when you're putting 2 USB ports and you just drag one file to the other to copy it. That's what I try to do to people. You're good. You're amazing. You got this shit. You are powerful. You are beautiful. You are free. Who said that? Yes, my homie bros. So this is really important, and this is what I go by. To play a wrong note is insignificant. To play without passion is inexcusable. We are very afraid. We're very afraid of making mistakes, or on the other side, we don't want to start something because it's not perfect. It's not the perfect timing. I don't have enough money. I haven't slept enough, or whatever it is. The way I see it is one foot after the other. You're going to make mistakes. Whenever I started doing YouTube activism and all of that, I'm actually wanting to delete some of those things because they were not really good at all, but I just had this yearning to start. And as you start and you continue to move, you're going to get better. The beginner's minds that the Zen people talk about is you have to continue to learn. If you just expect to be the best at it on day one, you're fooling yourself, After a while, when you get enough beginner's mind training, you pick up on things super fast, and that is a fact. But in the meantime, we're gonna suck basically at some things. So it's important not to be afraid to play a wrong note. We just have to play with passion, whatever that is for you, whatever turns you on, whatever lights you up. So the freedom includes the freedom to be wrong. We are going to make mistakes. Life is not perfect. And I don't know, like one of my favorite movies, I don't know if you've seen it, is the Lego movie. And people are like, wow, that's the child. It's not, dude. Like, precedent business is the whole idea of consciousness wanting to have everything in perfection at all times. And the little kids wanting to play, that's us. They're not letting us be who we want to be. And I think, as Berwick was saying in the opening, they are the resistance to life itself. To be wrong, to make mistakes, to fuck up, that's the same thing. So San Pedro Cactus explained karma to me. A lot of times, it's nothing more than cause and effect, and the idea that we hold on to things. We hold on to our mistakes. It's like we're proud of them or something. Like, I made this mistake. And in shamanic healing, what I do a lot of times is like, yes, you did. What are you going to do about it? Learn from it. Learn from that experience. Take away whatever it is. So we move from a from a win-lose situation to a win-learn situation. You're going to win anyway if you're willing to open up and see what can I learn from this situation. There is always an upside. That, like the mental processes the stories that you're telling yourself in your mind, is what creates reality. Reality is super big thing, but whatever you focus on, that's what you're going to continue to see. If you're saying, oh, I suck at this, oh, I don't do this, look at how you talk to yourself. That is the most important thing that you can do. And you can rewire that. Yes, you can. I've helped, probably thousands of people at this point with this, and it's so powerful. It changes your life. The main thing is to be able to find your purpose. And actually, I wrote a piece about a week ago, and there was one lady that said, I like a lot of what you said here, but this triggered me because I don't have a purpose. I'm like, no, you just haven't found it. For whatever reason, and there needs to be a lot of inner work, a lot of digging all that shit out, all the trauma, all the pain, and own it. But not as if you are that pain, but like, yeah, that helped me see a lot of things. It helped me open up. We can create our life with intention. Sometimes, a lot of people live life in autopilot. What I like to do and what I like to teach people is every morning when I wake up, my alarm is set about 30 minutes before I need to get up. And sometimes I feel bad because I wake up my lovely wife and she's like, damn it, Lou, what are you doing? Well, at any rate, I just lay in bed and I visualize my day the way I want it to go. Because you wake up and you're still in alpha state, so that's an easier way to create a tangible connection with your physical reality. So I continue to manifest every morning my day in any way that I want it to be. Obviously, it's never going to be exactly how you want it, but you can create those intentions. And what's most important, basically, at the end of the day, is to seeing things whole. The idea that freedom allows us to experiment and expand. And as you're creating your life with intention, you are becoming the event horizon. We as humans, we are the event horizon. We are basically doing away with natural selection, and we are changing the consciousness as we go. I mean, this is kind of trippy, but that's the way it is. It's a mass hallucination. Very interesting. As I was telling you, our words define our world. Self-actualization, when you're in that place, you have no need for violence at all, because you know that you are interconnected. And you may say, Luis, you have like a gun in your house like at every 5 steps. Well, I like guns. Yes, I do. But, I'm not going about like shooting people, or hurting people. I just like guns. There's a different story. When you're in that place of authenticity, you do not want to harm anybody else, because you know that life is a boomerang, and whatever you throw out will smack you too. Liberty is always freedom from government. Ludwig von Mises. And this is what continues to happen as we set ourselves free. Basically, the state is a manifestation of human psyche at this point in time in the space-time continuum. So we allow that to continue because we keep playing their game. And if you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. We need to move away from that paradigm. It's not about like voting for the right person. It's about moving your money away from that. the other side and doing something with purpose, with passion. What they don't want you to have is purpose and passion. That's what they hide from you. A lot of people say like, oh, there's huge conspiracies, the Illuminati, whatever. No, it's not necessarily true. It's just some greedy people. That's it. And the more that you're able to even forgive them, the more that you're able to see, Adam is going to walk you through a really empathizing exercise later, and I mean, it has me in tears every time I've done it with him. So the whole idea is whenever you're able to see the other person as somebody, as some human that is trying to feed their kids, but put food on the table, or pay rent, or whatever it is, the more that you see that, the less friction that it exists. We don't need to fight the state. As a matter of fact, it will never go away if we fight it. Never. Because it's a losing game. The only way to win this game is to not play it, and that means looking inwards, always. There is a quote that I always like to talk about is, I as a servant leader, what am I doing or not doing to contribute to the problem that we have? That's a tough one, because it always comes back to you. What is my deal in this issue? So really cool stuff. So some tools: meditation, your diet, gratitude practice, very important every day. Entheogens, finding a purpose, binaural beats, yoga, daydreaming. I'm going a little faster. Time is running. And you can find this in my website if you saw it there. Now, we moved to the idea of money. Another San Pedro journey that I took. I was like, a lot of people hate money. Why don't we just do away with it? So that was my intention, to learn about money. So I took the cactus, I went to my tent, and I had about master's degrees in monetary policy in 6 hours. When I came out, I was like, we need money. It's not about money. It's about who issues money. It's the idea that there is one entity in every country of the world that has the monopoly of money issuing, and if you try to do something else, they'll put you in jail, they'll kill you, like they were doing with Ross. This guy created a wonderful thing. That's why Satoshi, nobody knows who the hell Satoshi Nakamoto is. He knew. Debasing currency, inflation, and taxation. Those are the monopoly tools to basically steal your energy, because money, that's what it is your input into something, and the output is that. What's not to love about money? It's your energy, your work, your skill, your time.
Talk some more about who
it's lovely. It's you. It's an extension of yourself. You need to love that. When I say free money, I mean free from coercion. Crypto, precious metals, bartering. Bartering has some interesting blocks if you are trying to expand, but it works in a smaller community. There are three main ways to create wealth. A job, everybody hates it. You're just going for the paycheck. A career, you want to be able to be the best and just retire at 60 and be at the beach sipping martinis. A calling is when it's not work for you. You wake up with the purpose of, I am going to change the world, and this is my contribution to the earth, because your consciousness expanded from me to us, to all of us. You suddenly realize that your input to this interesting system will affect everything. You are important, and that's why I really want to encourage you to find and seek your purpose. That's the best thing you can ever do. You have to do what lights you up. And the story that my mom always said to me, I don't care what you do in life as long as you are the best at it. You can be the guy that sweeps the streets. You can be the guy that whatever. I don't care. Just love it and be the best at it. And I want to pass that on to you guys. The complaints that I hear from people about money is like, we need direction without being told what to do. What the hell's going to happen? Anarchy doesn't work. Well, have you played Minecraft lately? All those kids are building a bunch of stuff and nobody's getting paid for that. And when you find your purpose, you're just wanting to contribute more and more and more. Luke Stokes, one of my buddies, he was really expanding my mind yesterday, as he does every time, and he's talking about just contributing so much to society that you don't need to put a price tag on your product, because people are just going to throw money at you. That's a pretty cool thing to do. I have 5 minutes, and so that was one thing. Nature has a way to rearrange things and to make them complex and beautiful, like that flower, like this wonderful thing, galaxies, everything. You don't need coercion. The universe does not need coercion. We have, what I want to realize is that humans have a protoplasmic yearning for organization. We don't need any of that. If we see the interconnectedness, we just contribute, and that's beautiful. I mean, when you see it in natural disasters, everybody's there to help when the government's not doing anything. That happens all the time. So we just need to get to that point. Okay, I'm not going to finish my presentation, obviously, but I want to tell you, finding your purpose, like all these things in nature that we saw, finding mentors, that's really important. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to find a mentor, I want to find it from me. Well, no, don't reinvent the wheel. Find somebody that has the results that you want and follow them, okay? That's it. Like, somebody taught you how to walk. You didn't say like, oh, I'm going to learn how to walk by myself. No, somebody held your hand and walked you. And until you were strong enough. Last night, I was talking to Jeffrey Tucker, and I was giving feedback on his presentation. And after all that, he kissed me on my cheek, and he said, you don't have many prodigies, but you're certainly one of them. Like, I was like, oh my God, Jeffrey Tucker. Like the idea, I'm trying to you inspire me so much with the purpose and passion that you exude that I want to be like that. And it's not just copying Tucker, it's bringing that out of you. Find a conscious organization and join it for work. If you don't find one, create one. Once you're self-actualized, love and work are the cornerstones of humanity. They need to be together. You need to love what you do and do what you love. Why can you not combine these two? Business is good because it lifts people out of poverty. A lot of people say, oh, I have to work for my money. Well, what would you do? I would have to go pick apples or whatever stuff. I don't want to do that. I want to use my time for something of higher purpose than just having to pick apples. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not going to make tofu by myself. This is probably what I'm going to have to finish with. It's the idea of the acceptance of a person requires tolerance of imperfection. Anybody could lead perfect people, if there were any. And it's part of the enigma of human nature that the typical person is immature and stumbling and inept and lazy, is capable of great dedication and heroism if wisely led. All right? The very last thing, I really want to encourage you to change the inner voice that says that the world is out to get you. It's not. People are not out to get you. People are in it for themselves, and that's different. Okay? Assume good intention. Instead of saying, oh, the student, no, maybe, if somebody cuts you up in traffic, maybe they have an emergency, maybe they have diarrhea. I don't know. They're, trying to go really fast. So, just train your mind to think like that. You're laughing, but that's true. You have to train your mind to do all of these things. Interesting points to consider. We're interconnected. Oh, the Flynn effect. This is something that I really like. We get smarter every 10 years. Right now, an average person was a 2%er in 1934. So we keep getting cooler and cooler. And I think my time's up. If you have any questions, you can approach me. I'll be happy to talk and hang out. And I'm going to take my coffee too. Thank you, guys.
Fernando Mesas. Yes.
There was an idea
to bring together a group of remarkable people
to see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us, we could fight the battles
that they never could.
In time, the state will know what it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that it's right, yet to fail all the same. Dread it. run from it, freedom still arrives.
Vacate the state. Engage all the speakers and get this man a microphone.
Fun isn't something that one considers when eradicating tyranny. But this does put a smile on my face.